So obviously Cisco in the midst of a big transition. How would you rate the progress of the transition under new CEO Chuck Robbins so far?
Well, we haven't seen the real results of the full transition yet. A lot is changing at Cisco, and it's something we all have to understand. This is a big, giant company going through some pretty major changes. And I'm not surprised that Cisco is having some trouble with its earnings and its revenue right now. It is a flattening market. But compound that with the fact that Chuck Robbins is indeed changing the company in some pretty dramatic ways. And he's made some really good progress, I think, in making those changes, but it's going to take some time until we see the residual effects of that and where he's going to take the company into some of the growth areas.
Let's talk about cloud computing in particular. Obviously, this is an area where now Amazon, Microsoft, even Google are winning, yet you have some of the older school tech giants like Cisco, HP, Dell, Oracle trying to take on the cloud as well. How likely is it that Cisco will find strong footing here?
Yeah, we've written on this recently about the changing market landscape and how the cloud companies are really getting a lot of the corporate technology spending these days. And that's at the expense of the companies you just mentioned, Cisco being one. It's a tough market for those players, and they all have to transform what they're doing to succeed there. And that's not just selling to the cloud providers. All of this stuff needs technology, but they're not necessarily selling it to the cloud providers. They have to look elsewhere. Some growth areas around Internet of Things, for example, that's going to be a massive force in our world in general. And there's going to be a lot of spending there, and that's not necessarily all going to cloud. Companies like Cisco can capitalize on that, but it's a big departure from the past. And it's a big focus of Chuck Robbins with some of his M&A.
I did sit down with Chuck Robbins a couple of months ago on the one-year anniversary of him taking over from John Chambers. I asked him about the election. As I understand it, he has traditionally voted Republican. However, he would not tell me who he was voting for, unlike many other Silicon Valley executives who came out strongly against Donald Trump. What would a Trump presidency mean for a company like Cisco that is a global company and obviously has been a bellwether for the global economy for so many years?
I don't know that it's going to make that big of a change for Cisco. President-elect Trump has, he's made it pretty clear he wants to build out infrastructure, and that could bode well for a company like Cisco. But a lot of that infrastructure is more the physical infrastructure, highways and bridges and that kind of thing. And there, you got to question how much a company like Cisco can benefit from that. And maybe some of the politics of the geopolitics of the Trump administration could impact some international trade. But I think people will just come to their senses and do the right thing.